Hi everybody, it's been a while since I did a video and I'm talking a bit quietly because it's a bit late. So I finally earned my Canadian card and I did a winter sport aside from skating. I finally learned how to ski. I went on a trip to go skiing with my friends that was hosted by Enjoy Korea. It was my first time attending one of their events, so I didn't really know what to expect other than there's going to be snow and that it was a bit weird that I've never skied in Vancouver. I was generally pretty okay at it. I was the one who fell the least, though I was the only one who fell on flat snow, so minus points for that. Unfortunately, because I didn't take any footage of the skiing trip, you're not going to see any of it, but I'm going to try my best to summarize what happened because they're pretty sad stories. So on the first day, me and my friend actually had met up prior in Busan and stayed overnight because there was no way in hell we were gonna get to the bus in time. And so when we caught the bus, we had a 4-hour trip to go to the mountains. When we finally got to the mountains, we had to basically go collect our gear. On our way to get our ski gear, we were kind of deciding whether or not we should go eat or not. And I don't know why I decided to take charge, but my friends were kind of a little bit hesitant at first because they kind of wanted to ask some of the staff where everything was. And which I said, you guys should trust me, don't worry about it, which would come to bite me in the ass later. We get our ski gear, we pay for the lockers to put our stuff in. We decide to go outside to go skiing because that's what we came here for. When we attached the skis to our boots, we had no idea which area was the beginner area because it wasn't really clearly labeled, or we weren't really given instructions on where to go. We were kind of just taken to the mountains and left to fend for ourselves. We could have easily asked staff where to go, honestly, but I don't know. I've just been the type who's like, you try to figure things out by yourself, and that turned out to be the wrong thing to do in the end. There are two options you can go onto for that particular mountain that we went on. One was to go on the gondolas to go up the mountain, and there was also a hill next to the gondola station. For me, logically, I thought that the beginner area was going to be the slope that was next to the gondola area because that seemed like, okay, well, if you're more advanced, you would go higher up the mountain. I was kind of like, yeah, let's just go over here. It seems like it's the right area. And my friends were kind of like, are you sure? Maybe we should ask some staff. And I was kind of like, no guys, trust me. Like, you didn't trust me earlier with the building, so you should trust me now with the slope we should go down. And then they were kind of insistent about checking the map at least. So because I was the most proficient at moving around with the skis on the boots, I decided to go check the map. I checked for the beginner areas and they were color coded as green, I believe. And that area that was next to the gondolas was green. I turned to them, I was like, yep, it's the beginner area, let's go for it. You know, how else are we gonna learn? We all went over there, tapped in our passes, and went down the hill. Oddly enough, I was able to control myself pretty well sliding down the hill. I did the pizza or the triangle position in order to make sure I was slow enough and was able to maintain my speed. The strange thing that happened was my friends were going a lot faster than me and crashing as a result, even though they were doing the same position as I was. A lot of the time I spent going down the hill, I ended up waiting for my friends because I didn't want to end up ditching them. As a result, I actually got some really bad blisters on my ankles, and this was because I was wearing jeans underneath the snow pants I was given, and unfortunately the jeans kind of curled around my ankle awkwardly. I think it took us about 2-3 hours to get down that hill. I fell a total of 2 times. One was because I got scared and wanted to slow down and stop, which was the wrong thing to do. I should have just continued. And the second time was because one of my friends actually crashed into me. My friend was actually going on a roll, and she was like, yeah, and then she realized she didn't have enough time to actually swerve around me or turn away because her control wasn't as great since she was still a beginner. And so she's calling to me to move to the side, but all I could hear was that she was calling me my name, and all I could do was look back, and I'm like, why is she calling me? And as a result, she kind of had to brace for impact, and so going down, and my pole went flying, and we kind of just laid there in disbelief that we had that huge collision. There were some elementary school students that were learning how to ski next to us, and they were actually pretty good. So they were all asking if we were all okay, and generally very supportive. After we got down, we went onto the gondola to go back up the mountain to the main area. And I ended up having to go into a separate gondola because there wasn't enough room in the one prior. So I sat by myself and, was doing my own thing. My friends, on the other hand, ended up being on a gondola with other foreigners, and they got to discussing the slope. What we ended up finding out is that the slope I ended up taking my friends on was for level 3 beginners. So there were 2 other levels that we were supposed to go on to before we went and attempted the slope that I led my friends into. A+ leadership. The funny thing is that that was a really common mistake with all the beginner foreigners, so I wasn't necessarily doing an uncommon mistake, but we did it. We were able to get down the slope to the best of our abilities. The next day we decided to do some more skiing, and only one other friend and I decided to go to the beginner slopes to see what the difference was and see if it was any easier. So eventually we actually did ask the staff, how do we get to the beginner slopes, and we had to go to the very, very top of the mountain in order to get there. So when we got to the very, very top, we found out that we had to actually go down, I want to say that it was level 1.2, but I'm not sure if it was actually level 2. But basically, in order to get to the very, very beginner area, you had to go down 1.2 to get to 1.1, which made no sense to me and my friend when we were going down. Once we got to 1.1, we had to go up this electric ramp in order to get to the very top. There might have been a way to get up there without having to suffer, but I don't know how. So up the ramp we went. We had to go on 2 separate ramps. Towards the very end, there was a staff member that started to walk towards me. Now, there was already a staff member that had walked past me while I was on the ramp, and I just thought he was gonna go around me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, he's just gonna walk around me, so I'll just stand a little bit to the side. I remember him very distinctly because he had Chopper's pink hat from One Piece. He walks right up to my face, and I kid you not, it was pretty close, and I'm standing there going, like, who are you and why are you doing this to me? And my friend's looking at me going like, do you know this person? And I'm looking at her going like, I have no idea who this person is. Do you know what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Kind of like look of confusion, and we're kind of like, what do we do? Me, being the very awkward Asian, decided to not look at him and turn to my friend and try to talk to her, kind of going like, yeah, so blah blah blah, and wow, this is a really long ride up. And so after a while I would glance back at him, be kind of like, why are you still staring at me, while looking at my friend, asking her for help, because like, what do you do in that situation? So he turns his back towards me for a moment, and it's because between the ramps you have to step over this one place because that's the connection, since the ramps aren't long enough for the hill. So he turned around to make sure he doesn't trip, and I in return had to step over and walk up there. And you'd think that maybe like he would maybe walk forward or like not kind of turn back to me, but he did, and it was creepy as fuck. I'm looking back at my friend going like, I don't know what's going on, dude, like, send help. Eventually towards the end he does say something to me, and it was very basic English, oh, where are you from? And are you good at skiing? In which I only had the expression of like, really? That's why you're in my face? See, I don't want to think that the guy was hitting on me or anything, mostly because I wasn't particularly all that attractive that day. No makeup, sunglasses, and like my hair's done up into a high ponytail because, like, you know, I didn't really want to put makeup on for skiing in particular, and plus I'm there with my friends, so you know, they don't really care what I look like. My only opinion of what happened in that particular situation was that that particular staff was just probably bored and had nothing better to do, so he's kind of thought, hey, let's just mess with the foreigner. You know, it was kind of just really creepy that he did that. But other than that, I didn't really have any wild encounters. We went down the 1.1 hill. It was pretty smooth. I felt that me and my friend really did improve, and it does make me want to go skiing again. Ideally, maybe in Canada. In the meantime, I'm just gonna be preparing for my trip to Japan, where I'm going to meet with my sister and a couple of friends. If you know how my room used to look like, you'll notice that my room looks a bit different, and that's because I've been rearranging my room. Sorry, I sound really tired, but I've been talking for a really long time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.